We are just waiting for people to come in. It is 5:30, Wednesday, April 6th. This is the regular meeting of the Economic Development Commission. I'd like to welcome everyone, and we just have some more commission members coming in. And we're getting ready to approve the minutes. I think we do have a quorum right now. In attendance is MJ DeRizio, Mona Colwell, Cheryl Poirier, Wendy Russell, Sherry Cody, Joe Kamian, and John Stratton. Optional.
Oh, good.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 2nd regular meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, that's Sherry, and second by Wendy. And Sherry.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. There you are, John. Whoops. All right. Thank you. Just very quickly, review of the economic forum that we had earlier in March. We got really good feedback from people who attended that. I think the presentations mostly went well. I want to thank those who stuck around and cleaned up afterwards. Mona and a few other people helped out with that. But any other comments on the forum? Several, go ahead, John.
No, my comment is only that it was long awaited without people really realizing that they're waiting for it, and long desired. And I think that our leadership in that area might be followed through, I hope, by other boards and commissions.
I do hope so. They, at the end of the day, said, several people said they learned so much in the day that they want to have this quarterly and have different topics or themes. So ideally, a different commission or board would host quarterly, maybe an evening meeting, not so much coffee and lunch and everything. So I did send out an email to those commission leaders to see who would want to host something in the coming quarter. Okay, great. Moving along, we have economic indicators. Real estate is first by MJ.
Okay, so I have a packet here which has an awful lot of detail in it. But if you drill down into the graphic page, which is about the third or fourth sheet in, you can see that prices are holding up, and the story is that inventory is virtually null. Things are coming on in the market. In fact, there were 2 new listings in Old Lyme this week, but it's rare. One was over $1 million and one was around 500. But I think that the residential sales pace is an indicator of people moving, and we haven't yet gotten reports on where they're coming from and what they do, but that's a new study that's going on in MLS, so I might have more for you later. Sales prices are coming down a little bit, but I think that has to do a lot with inventory levels and the properties that are coming onto the market. I know you'll all be curious to see who's on, who's sold, and what's going on in your neighborhood. So all that detail is in there for the residential side. I also sent an email to everyone today with the first quarter economic analysis on real estate that is done by the company I work for, which is William Pitt Sotheby's. And it does reflect the whole state, but it's our opinion of what's happened and where we think we're going heading into the rest of the year. So just keep that in mind when you see it. It's a long report that's very informative, and you can compare us to the rest of the state. The most interesting the most interesting report actually here is on the commercial side. For sale, nothing much has changed. I want you to notice that Cherry Stones came off the market for now. There will be a very long due diligence period if someone were to come forward with an offer on that. The agent said that he has a number of offers and that they're looking at them, but nothing is going to happen immediately if in fact they get an offer. But he's still actively marketing it. There's a couple of technical things that are being worked out.
So it's off the market.
It's off the market, but it's technically off the market to the public, but it's in a status category where he could still show it to prospective buyers. And it's just a bunch of rules and regulations that exist. But everybody that has looked at it, he assures me, is a knowledgeable and experienced restaurateur. And that was the intention for the property all along. The only other new thing is that 54 Falls Road came on. The hardware store that just opened is getting flipped. The business is for sale. It came on today for $2.5 million. I have a call into the agent for anything that she can tell me legally, and I'll see what happens with that. But I know that we had been talking about it and a ribbon cutting, so I just wanted you to know that they've put the business only up for sale. They obviously don't own the real estate.
So wait, this is the one that just changed.
The old Christensen's just changed hands, is now on the market for $2.5, the business.
Strange.
Came on today.
It is strange.
So everybody who has access to the MLS will know it. So I just hoping that I can give you all some substantive information that would curtail any gossip and rumors, but I don't have it for you now.
So MJ, if before our next meeting, if you have information that you want to share with the EDC, you can email that to the whole EDC, and that FOIA would consider that a meeting of the EDC.
Okay.
So
it would get embedded in the record.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, anything I can find out, I will certainly share.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts or kind of in conclusion, what is your analysis for the minute?
In conclusion is the weather's too cold and commercial properties are still lagging out here. I think that once the business owners or potential owners see the turnover in residential households, who's left, who's come in, what that demographic is, things might start to perk up. We would hope. But the commercial brokers and the residential brokers really operate in separate lanes. So they have to kind of assume what each other is doing. But they're going to talk about it. But it's cold because the stuff that's on the market now, there's two things over on the beach. There's a marina, so it's not the weather for it, even though people should be looking at it.
Right, so on that commercial properties, the active properties, 2-4 Bank Road is the marina.
Yes.
Huntley Road, number 4, that's an office building.
It is, and
right.
It's set up mostly, I think, for medical kind of spaces.
Yeah, and then 83 Hartford, that's
The little restaurant that
Beach Bums.
Sugar Shack, yeah, Beach Bums.
Beach Bums, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's the building that's for sale.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, anything else? Questions for MJ? Thank you for all of this data. This is very helpful.
It can be overwhelming. I guess when I live and breathe it every day, it just doesn't me that I'm giving it to a new audience. But I hope you find that the commercial property information is really interesting because you probably live near some of it. It can only help you.
Right.
I also think the absence of an adequate availability of single-family residential. There are people who want to move to town.
Well, there are people that want to move all over the state, and there is zero.
Yep.
Nobody wants to sell. Still, nobody wants to sell because they don't know where to go.
Right.
That's the issue. I mean, everybody scooped everything up during COVID, and that could have still been viable inventory, and it would have been more stable throughout, but it's not. Now people are starting to panic. And don't forget, rates are rising. Cost of living is up. I wouldn't be surprised if prices stayed a little flat or continued to decline to offset some of that. but I'm not the expert. You should read the report I sent via email. And for the guests that don't get that, you can go to williampitt.com, and right on their front page is a first quarter market report for the public to view, print, share. It's very interesting.
Okay, thank you. Business openings, closings, and ribbon cuttings. A number of you were at the ribbon cutting for the Stumble Inn, and which was very nice, and we had a write-up in Line after that. So that went well. Old Lime Hardware is where it's at. We're learning today. And John, I popped in there either Monday or Friday when I saw their new sign and said, oh, I think someone's been in here to check in with you and see about ribbon cutting. And they said, oh, yes, and they were talking about were they having a hot dog cart or an ice cream cart for ribbon cutting. So that's the message they were sharing on Monday. Okay. Long River Local, David Rubino, checking up on them, so I need to follow up with him on that. The Art Academy is opening an art store. It's really handsome. It's a beautiful renovation, if you will. And that is formally opening May 1st, which is a Sunday. They're doing a soft opening at their Extravaganza, like an Easter egg hunt. It's called the Extravaganza on the 16th. So I said to them I would follow up with them on whether or not we can pull off a Sunday, May 1st ribbon cutting, or if it would be better to pick a weekday. Also, there's a local woman who, Nightingale's Acoustic Cafe, they do a great evening. They have good traffic in the evening with musical events and all, and they've tried out different things during the day to kind of get that cafe aspect of it going. And now they're bringing in a local woman, Carla, to run her own cafe within Nightingale's Acoustic Cafe. So I believe that's opening May 2nd. So perhaps there's a ribbon cutting there as well. And then Pappy's, my understanding is they're still waiting on a hood or some sort of equipment. So
Is that the taco place?
yeah. Everyone is really waiting for that to open. They want
Something that did, if that's
yeah. Right. Does anyone know of other openings, closings?
No, but I did notice that the Long River Local put some tables outside.
Oh, good.
Anticipating the warm weather. So that'll be nice for people to have their coffee and their scone and whatever they get.
That is nice. Great. Okay, American Rescue Plan grants. I sit on that committee, and on Friday we announced an application window for the next month, closing May 2nd, for two types of grants. And one, you'll be getting these postcards in your mailbox today or sometime this week, hopefully. The website is very informative on the town website, the webpage for ARPA, but there are right now two types of grants. One is an economic recovery grant, and that is for small businesses or nonprofits who had a loss from March 3rd, 2021, not the first year of the pandemic, as we went into the second year of the pandemic. So March 3rd, 2021 to April 1st, 2022, which was just on Friday. And you have to show evidence of loss during that time. That might be, as a nonprofit, we couldn't have our fundraiser, or as a business, we had to close certain times because someone tested positive, so we were all quarantined, or, we had to reduce our capacity, our table capacity, anything at all. So in the economic recovery grant, people can get up to $10,000. The second type of grant is a community initiatives grant, and that is for businesses, nonprofits, or what we're calling government entities, which means town hall departments or boards or commissions who want to put forward a grant proposal for something that would negate the negative effects. That's not good wording, but address the negative impact of the pandemic on Old Lyme and create transformative initiatives that create transformation for Old Lyme as it relates to the pandemic. So that could include things like getting tourism back on track or addressing mental health issues, which we heard in the resident survey was of issue. People either didn't have the time or the resources, like the copay, to seek out a counselor. So are there ways to do that? So there's a number of, and infrastructure, and there are a number of ways that organizations can seek out or come up with an initiative to ask for a grant if it is within the guidelines.
Has your group set parameters for what proportion will go to the first group and the second group, or is it just as needed so you could?
After May 2nd, we're looking at what proposals we're getting in. Rather than set up buckets early on.
50-50 or something.
Right. And there's going to be things outside of this. Like we're also giving a bucket of money or plan to give a bucket of money to our social service department to help families who were impacted by the pandemic. We didn't want to set up buckets ahead of time because we don't know if we have 5 businesses applying, which would be $50,000, or 20 businesses, which, you know, would be,
Do you have a total?
thank you, $200,000.
Do you have a total?
The total number is $2.162 million.
For this particular initiative?
Nope, for the whole town.
Right.
So it's going to be a subset of that.
Okay, but
different buckets.
No
under that.
definitive number for the subset.
Not until we see what grants come in or what applications come in.
Okay.
I've seen this done in other towns, but usually the EDC is involved, and so we have not been involved in this, I'm assuming.
No, the way Old Lyme did it was set up a committee under the selectmen, and they picked different representatives across subject areas. And so I'm hospitality and tourism. There's social services. There's someone from the, I don't know what it stands for, the MDDS, which is kind of a retiree score set of volunteers. He's on there also representing businesses. I mean, we can consider a grant ourselves, but we would have to turn it around fairly quickly. One thing that doesn't really have a home for owning the process is signage in town, pointing people to, you know, the arts organizations or to the beach area or, you know, the easiest example to give is Saybrook and their really nice signs that they have around town. We don't have anything like that, but that's much bigger than what this EDC can manage.
Without staff. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing signage in both Guilford and Madison with ARPA funds, but we have staff.
Right, right.
Oh, when you don't have staff.
Yeah.
To actually do it. Yeah. And the chamber, you know, did the welcome signs. I'm not sure. I see the one off of 95 every day.
Mm-hmm.
But.
So if anyone wanted their sign updated, for example, like there's signs around that are defunct or mislabeled, would that particular entity need to include that in their application?
I think a business could put in a community initiative grant to say, I'm going to improve my facade of my building, and that would include signage.
What's the deadline?
May 2nd.
And the application's online?
Yes, both applications are fillable PDFs, or you can print them out and fill them out and get them back to Town Hall, and there's also hard copies available here at Town Hall.
Are they layman-like ready, or are they like real grant applications with the pages and pages of minutia?
We worked hard on the economic recovery grant to make it very straightforward language. Community initiative, I would say it is as well for anyone who's wanting to take on an initiative. They should be able to understand the grant application.
Okay. I would assume the nonprofits are very familiar. I just don't know if a small business would, like the kayak people. They've never written a grant, I'm sure. So what help are you providing them if they need it?
So that's a good point. For the economic recovery grants, those are the ones that are up to $10,000. We have an outside consultant who is assessing those. He's done it for Summers and for East Windsor. And one reason is for an objective eye, and the other is just the workload. And he is someone who can call up a business and say, you left out this one piece, or, tell me, are you sure these are your losses between 2021 and 2022? So he's going to work with people.
All right. Thanks.
He can follow up with people.
Is there a size minimum for a business? Like somebody sitting at this table could be an independent consultant. Would they qualify as a business?
You have to be an LLC or incorporated in some way.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else on that? All right. Eastern Regional Tourism District update.
Well, basically my last meeting got postponed, so I don't have any huge updates except for that with Cheryl's help, we were able to provide them with a list of all the events that we have in town and different sites so that they'll be able to include that in their marketing campaign. So that's great and thank you, Cheryl, for that, because it was a lot of good information. And then they asked for photos, and I know at some of the different towns they provided a photographer to come and do a photo shoot, of different things that went on. So hopefully that'll attract to some of the events a photographer, and then we'll have more coverage, if you will.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So
photos and video.
Yeah, and video. Video is huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
Video is the way to capture one's eyes, if you will. So, but that's really about it right now. I have a meeting, I think it's next week. It got postponed again for some reason. So, but I'll give you a better update next time.
Okay.
Randy, are they still giving away grants, or is that over?
That's over until the next, July, I think.
It would have been great to pair that with a matching grant from the town to do something.
Yeah.
We could have done a project around that.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah. It was a little too close when I got a hold of.
Well, I knew about the grant, and we talked about, the Arts District talked about the grant, but it's a manpower thing.
no, I understand, and also even with this one.
Oh, right.
Initiative, the deadline is May 2nd, and it's like, I'm just thinking, could we do a digital ad campaign, something like that, but you have to put it together in such a short time frame. It's too tight,
Right.
Yeah, with the manpower that we have for don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with a lot of the grants, and that's why they don't get a lot of people to apply. We had 10, I think, for the last grants. Not a lot.
With this photographic effort, would that lead to a library or an archive? I think of it as B-roll. That is, channel XYZ wants some Oline shots. This could be a bank, let's say, of...
Well, I'm sure we'll be privy to
But
it.
that sort of thing is always useful.
Yeah.
They don't have to do more work.
I'm sure they'll share them with us if they...
Yeah, I think it's like Mystic Country, which is our area, and then the state of Connecticut tourism if they were to come and take photos or video, that's how they use it. Those quick little shots you see in
They
ads.
use it, but can we appropriate that as part of our website or something like that would be public domain?
I think Wendy could get
Everything.
access through the ERTV board.
I think I can too, yeah.
I think you see what I'm getting at. So if somebody needs a shot in a hurry, they're going to be able to get it, or it'd be lovely.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Okay, good.
Does our website feed up into that Connecticut tourism site?
CT visits.
It's kind of the opposite. The CT Visit site has a page about Old Lyme, and then you can click through to explore Old Lyme.
But
So yeah, it's linked.
what's the first step? What's the first one though? Is that our town website?
Explore Old Lyme, that kind of, the new tourism.
The new one that you did, is that the first, like if someone's on CT,
I think it still goes to the old Lyme one.
Oh, did you, because they were supposed to change that.
Oh,
I
okay, so it may have been recent, because the last time I checked it was,
The old one,
Okay, I will
the
follow up on
website.
that.
but that was probably about maybe at least a month ago.
Oh, okay, it was supposed to change it a little bit ago. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the town's website.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I
Belabor that.
kind of taken, yeah, it wasn't
There,
pretty.
I think there's also some, there's someone retiring there and a change of
Okay,
the guard, so maybe it just got lost.
great.
And- Okay. Advanced CT New Business Guide.
That's me.
Yeah, and I have it
But
printed
I'm
out.
going to turn
if
it over
you-
to you.
Okay. Jerry, put it in my lap.
Because Cheryl
And
has the printout that I didn't.
I'm gonna pass this around.
Good management.
Yeah.
This is the
Delegate.
drafty draft. I call it the drafty draft. It's very handsome, and I owe Sherry and Advanced CT images that they asked for to update some of these, and I do have to go, I have a few things to do. Read it, which is tomorrow morning, and work with Dan Beret, who's our zoning officer, on the right process for a new business coming into town. So
Yeah,
I
often there's some tweaks needed, but thank you so much for helping me out with it. I appreciate it.
I did nothing yet.
Well, thank you for what you're going.
What I'm going to do.
And for printing it and bringing it tonight. They'll do that.
I was surprised how nice it looked. That wasn't what I was picturing, and I was
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
Yeah. And there'll be some replacement photos in there and all. Explore Old Lyme, I should have brought the analytics with me. I just got some analytics in the email from Wix on Explore Old Lyme, and it is picking up some steam. And interesting, the Florence Griswold Museum put a link to it on their website, and we've already gotten, I think they did that maybe 3 weeks ago, and we've already gotten 46 click-throughs from the Florence Griswold Museum to Explore Old Lyme. So it's always surprising how much traffic actually happens. And the Google searching is still something I'm working on.
So just as a follow-up
Oh,
to
yeah.
the question about what is linking on the CT visit, it's the town's website.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so we
how you go.
definitely still need to get that.
Okay, I will do that tomorrow.
And you should be able to log in as a partner and manage that yourself.
Yeah, Michelle Noren is a partner as Town of Old Lyme, but we work together on it. I'm the partner for the Arts District page, which is a separate page. So I will talk to Michelle also about that, because we emailed about it maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Okay, Old Lyme's Midsummer Festival is happening July 30th. The museum is doing something new this year. On their property, they aren't having vendors. They're having food trucks, but they aren't having the artisan vendors.
Who
There
is
will-
that? I'm sorry.
The museum.
Yeah,
The
okay.
artisan vendors will be either at the Lyme Academy or at the Lyme Art Association. There will still be the fence show, if you will, in front of the old Lime Inn. What the museum is doing is along their new outdoor artist trail, they're having nonprofits. And it's kind of their hands-on, minds-on activity. It's nonprofits who have an activity or a giveaway and is family kind of focused.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure that's the right spot for us, but do we want a tent, an information tent at Midsummer Festival on a front lawn somewhere?
I'm sure you've talked to everybody at the key art places, but the association has limited ground space.
Yeah, they're filling up.
And they're filling up, and I wondered if because they're directly across the street from the old Lime Inn, if that corner of sort of the intersection would be a place for us, or if it should be somewhere else.
Thank you.
And were you able to draw any of the shopping center participants in? Has that been excluded as part of the
I have not had time to create an incentive for them to like have discounts or sidewalk sales or anything like that
So
this year.
Still could be a possibility if one of us or somebody.
Yeah.
But you've talked to the committee on it?
No, we are
Okay.
just, I think because it hasn't happened for 2 years, we're just worried about getting ourselves up and back. I mean, maybe that's something for next year.
Right.
But this year, they're just really we're getting our financing back in order, we're
Right.
trying to get our sponsors back, all of that, yeah.
Should apply for a grant in town.
We are for some materials. I mean, the other thing is, going back to that grant idea, do we, as the EDC, want to put in for a grant for just a pop-up tent and a labeled tablecloth and
Yeah, I think so.
a backdrop?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Should we just do that?
Oh, yeah.
To have that stuff for outreach?
Yes.
So can you just give me an overview again of the Midsummer Festival? There's going to be booths at the Florence Griswold, at the Lime Art Association, and at the Academy?
The Academy is going to be an alumni art sale, plus what we call vendors, which are, people selling their crafts or used to be farmers market. The Art Association will have some nonprofits on their front lawn, and a few vendors, craft vendors. They won't be selling art. Across the street at the old Lime Inn, they will have live music, and they'll have what's called the fence show, which is this traditional, they put up this short-term fence all around, and the artists hang their art on the fence, and they sell their art. The museum will have a food truck area, and then the nonprofits along their outdoor trail.
What about the Audubon?
The Audubon has a car show every year. So this is their first year with Midsummer, but they're continuing what the Bee and Thistle did, and they're having the Lions car show there. And then Studio 80, he'll have music and...
Okay. So it's not a walkable event. People have to drive.
Oh, no, it's a walkable event.
Oh, right
But
here.
And we have a shuttle bus, too. Oh, and the library has
But you can't walk from the old Lime Inn to the Academy.
Oh, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
The streets will be packed.
quarter mile, not even.
Packed. There'll be
Oh,
thousands
yeah,
of
it's
people.
all, we bring in constables to
Yeah.
do traffic control and...
Yeah, so it will be, I assume people are still we can't wait to get over COVID and go back to the event. It'll be packed.
Yeah, it's very walkable.
I think it would be great to have a tent, and if we could get brochures or something from our attractions, so that we can show the people that are there that might be from out of town some of the other things that we have in town that don't relate necessarily to the festival, but the restaurants and Black Hall and whoever we can. So maybe put out a call for, print literature is supposed to be dead, but in a case like this, it's actually not. It's kind of needed.
Right.
And even if we don't formally organize any type of sidewalk sales on Halls Road, what about if there's a way we can alert all the businesses and maybe they have a midsummer special that day? And then if people go to any of the businesses or some, and mention that it's midsummer.
Or we could put together a list if we know what the specials are and distribute some sort of a handout at a booth of what the specials are so people can go and shop or eat or whatever at the businesses.
Okay. And in terms of the literature too, it is an art festival. We might just have like some framed signage with these are the recreational businesses, these are the
That's
restaurants,
a good idea.
In art frames or something. Something nice so people can.
We could do a QR code or something and point them to our website, a page on our website with those listings rather than handing out flyers that might be thrown on the ground or accidentally blowing in the wind.
So why don't we do this again?
But Cheryl, may I just ask?
Yeah.
The only food area is going to be at the Flo Grizz.
Flo Grizz has food trucks. The Audubon has, the Lions Club Car Show has the Lions Grill. The Old Lyme Inn has an outdoor grill along with the fence show and music. Art Association.
Nothing.
I mean, sometimes they have Dell's carts.
I asked them if they were going to. I don't think they have the room this year, but.
And the Academy may or may not have food. They may have a food truck.
Is there a way we can get a balance over there for food? Because you know what's going to happen with the foot traffic. It's going to go that way.
Well, for several years...
The ice cream shops, what are they?
For several years, we tried to get... We had... The Midsummer Festival was from the Bee and Thistle to the library.
Right.
And we put a lot of work into getting people to go to the center school front lawn and the businesses and not a chocolate shell, really.
Yeah.
And people didn't want to come down this far. They wanted to be up where it was denser and where the vendors were. And so the organizations down here were always disappointed. They put out a lot of effort and they weren't getting a lot of foot traffic. So we decided as a group to move it back up to the north end of Line Street. And then what we do for the kind of south end of Line Street, who many of them, like the Historical Society, isn't necessarily interested in our tourists. They're not buying calendars or books. It's really people in town who are buying that stuff. So what we have for them is Make Music Old Lyme, which is always on the summer solstice. It's in the evening. So it's June 21st from 5 to 7, and it's a stroll on Line Street. And we have outdoor musicians, and it's people my age, young people, who come out for the evening, and they walk up and down, like, God help us, we have good weather that night again. But they walk up the street and they stop at the ice cream shop, or the lions are on the front lawn of Center School, and it's just a really sweet time, and everyone's overjoyed with seeing how talented our young musicians in town are. So we have about a dozen or 14 musicians all along the way, and Braden Sunshine was on Center School lawn last year, and Dan Stevens arranges a lot of those musicians. So that's really kind of what we do for the South End businesses, and it's really town-centric, like townspeople come out for that as opposed to tourists.
You said that was June 21st.
June 21st. I think it's Tuesday this year, 5 to 7.
It is. So that's just a mini little thing for them. So that the actual Midsummer Festival, which is the 29th and 30th?
The evening of Friday, the 29th, is the Florence Griswold Lawn Concert, and the festival is the 30th.
Oh, so it's the 30th of
July.
Are tickets required?
Did I say June? July. Okay.
Are tickets required for the Flo Grizz?
No, that's a free lawn concert.
Okay. They've always done that, though, haven't they?
Except the last 2 years.
And there's still no fireworks, right? We haven't,
I think, my understanding is they're working on how to do fireworks.
oh, good, okay. That'd be great.
Okay. Economic revitalization efforts, Halls Road. I talked to Edie Twining today, and she let me know things are status quo, really nothing to update everyone on. And Shoreline Gateway, that committee, they're still putting together, they haven't appointed anyone yet. My understanding is they tabled that Monday night. And the co-chairs of that will be Martha Shoemaker and Matt Ward. New or additional business? Do I have anything? So, anyone have new or additional business? Public comment.
I just want to start and let everyone know that, a lot of these things with promotional tourism and ribbon cutting, stuff that other towns have been doing for a really long time. It's great to see here having people, committed to doing that stuff. Something that I think is going to make it far in the community or, support that's kind of been stagnant, if you will, over the years with the chamber, other things. And, people have attempted and it kind of just goes down. So it's really commendable to see all that. A couple other things. The antique Italian ice truck. And there's another business in town called Whimsically Tipsy, and they're like a mobile bar with a CW bus that comes out, does stuff. So if you guys are looking for different types of vendors to do events, not that you want to necessarily serve cocktails and drinks, but it might be something that they could do non-alcoholic to promote their own business. It's something that's different and cool. And obviously, Taquitos is something that's been in town for a long time, and they have a couple different vehicles that are also antique and,
Oh, that's cool.
probably on the affordable side, if not for any ribbon cuttings or things that you guys
Yeah.
promote. So that's something that those are local in-town options that you're aware of or
Good
Right
to
right off
know.
the bat, I'm thinking the Midsummer Festival, we've got to get Vichitos into that.
Obviously, it's something that's been, those types of businesses were severely affected.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no event, weddings, reception. I used to hire Taquitos to do different on and off events. Something that, local in town, not a lot of people have food trucks. And then, the other thing is I am going to be applying for a community initiative grant, and I know the timing is short, and, the board is looking for their own potential things, but I did want to reach out and either ask for a letter of support or some type of co-sponsorship or something for the initiative I will be applying for shortly. So I don't know how to approach that for EDC. That is something I'm looking to do. I think you guys should take that up amongst yourselves on how you might be able to go about that. And obviously there's a couple of weeks to figure that out, but that is something that I was looking to do, and the application just came out, so I wanted to propose, to the table and have you guys somehow discuss or figure out how I could make you guys, presentation or something to give you guys to let you guys know what I'm doing, if you guys can somehow support that. It's for the bar, restaurant, catering, food and beverage industry in town, which obviously is one of the hardest hit sectors. So for EDC, since the chamber is not really currently doing much, I figured this was a good place to start. I have almost a dozen letters from different businesses in town that are in support of it, and I'm looking to get more support from individuals, organizations, etc.
So what are you looking for in a co-sponsor?
Well, in theory, I was looking for essentially, because the community initiative grant isn't privy to that unbiased opinion of the consultant, that potentially a co-sponsorship could be someone that can help oversee and manage reporting, financial, correspondence with the businesses, and anything that you guys would deem appropriate. And if not, potentially just a letter of support that says, hey, this is something for businesses in town. This can help tourism, this can help restaurants, this can help nonprofits, this can help a whole bunch of different things. So,
is this focused on the ecologically sensitive packaging?
Yes. Part of it, or most of it, is based on getting businesses eco-friendly packaging. There was a large increase of to-go and take-out and stuff like that, and that did have an ecological damage effect, which wasn't really on people's radar, but plastic and single-use was something that skyrocketed and still is holding somewhat firm because of business models changing. Delivery to go, Shoreline Line uses a thing in town that's doing delivery, takeout, like and it also there's a lot of factors that can kind of benefit town, community, the environment, tourism,
So your effort is not beach-centric, it's town-wide. Is that what I understand?
On the application, for which of both were pretty straightforward for a business or someone in the, some experience, like that, there was if you received a reduced amount of funding, what you would do with that, and part of that would be focusing on seasonal and summer businesses if the reduced amount was approved instead of the whole amount. So somewhat, yes, to your question.
And how many businesses so far have signed on to your concept? Just a number, like 10?
I'm sorry, how
A
many?
number of businesses that have signed
So I've
on
had
and supported
informal
you.
conversations with dozens. I have about a dozen letters of
Okay.
support, and there's about 35 to 40 food and beverage, which is kind of all encompassing of different convenience store, full service restaurant, takeout restaurant, a caterer, keto, a lot, and then there's pending, taco place,
Yeah.
the grill, Pizza Plus, the Bean Thistle was on the list, and, there's a bunch of different up in the air categories, if you will. So it's really an all-encompassing project that could reach 50 businesses in theory.
I mean, if I look at it from 30,000 feet, I was curious to know if you would approach somebody like a Cisco or a vendor or a supplier.
Yeah, so
that you could say, can you support us in this effort to maybe transition into a more eco-friendly
So I did
whatever,
speak to
versus starting here.
a vendor that I've been in a business relationship with since '07, and they carry a big line of eco-friendly products. A lot of the people in town already have that company as a vendor because they're local and they deliver once or twice a week to the town, and they would be an integral part of delivering these products to businesses regardless if they had an existing account or not. So, and there are other vendors that could be used to help, and part of that would be to reach out to their suppliers to get some type of additional match or
I would like to talk to you further offline about this because I'm curious to know where their closest distribution center is. We have places here where perhaps they could create a centerpiece or a model for the region.
And that
You
is
know, I'm
part
thinking
of, part
economic.
of the progressive plan is to not only use this as a model for the region, not just basically ARPA, but for other funds through other state, federal, and
Right.
nonprofit or ecological fundraising, and then as well as getting corporate or business sponsorships to keep the program going quarter to quarter, year to year, summer season to summer season. So it's something that I had conceptually planned even before the rescue plan was released by the feds or down to, the committee itself.
That's our incentive is economic development, so that's going to be my lens.
Yes, and,
As a
there's
point
a
of
lot of
information.
ways.
Right. Great.
Yeah, and Lenny gave us a very good presentation, maybe 6 months ago or so,
Yeah, I mean, it was
back in the
probably
autumn.
October.
Yeah. For me, if you're looking for a co-sponsor who can do letters and manage things, we're not equipped for that.
Right.
But I don't know, I'm interested in what the other commissioners here feel because I'm on the committee, so I feel like I can't write a letter of reference because I'm a judger, right? So I don't know if we're writing.
Who's your
We're
business
not ready.
mentor? Like, have you talked to, like, the retired executives mentorship people?
Score.
Yeah, so.
Score, thank you.
There's the Restaurant Association, there's SCORE, there's the Brewers Guild, there's a list of people, and I have had some, conversations with individuals, and I mean, there's a lot of organizations out there, so.
So here's our challenge, I think, is I wouldn't be ready to recommend or not recommend without seeing the proposal, right? We need to know the proposal, so that's easily emailed.
Yeah,
We don't-
I have a hard copy for everyone that you guys can see.
Okay, perfect. We don't meet again until May 4th,
Yeah.
and the
that's
deadline for
part
the
of
grant
big
is,
issue
is May
of,
2nd.
Your own challenge as well as mine for getting support from
Yeah.
you, so.
So
Have you gone to the library to ask them for help? They're very resourceful there.
So you could call a special meeting if you wanted to,
Or you could, I thought,
or let us.
if we all go on email,
Email
then it's the same.
meeting. Yeah, could do an email.
But a short letter acknowledging your presentations to us and the desirability of ecologically sensitive packaging for a variety of local businesses and industries. We just say, this is a fine idea. We wish you good luck in your contact with our businesses. That doesn't commit us to a specific program, but it beyond a good thing for the town, and have it originate here isn't a bad thing at all.
And ask to come back to us
And we look
every
forward
couple of
to
months,
consulting with you and-
see how you're progressing, and then
I mean, it's
maybe
really, the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen's decision if they approve the ARPA funds or not trying to find another way to do that.
John, do you want to draft a letter? And I literally don't know what I can or can't do myself because I have to recuse myself from certain applications.
They draft a letter, and it would be general, like
Yeah.
that, reflecting the fact that you've been here a few times and you've been talking about this
Yeah,
program.
I mean, I think, Mr. Cordo is a motivated businessman.
Yes.
Okay, so you have your hard copies for us. So why don't we, as a commission, we can take a look at those. What is today, Wednesday? I'll probably send out an email Friday or Monday, and we can look at John's letter. And Lenny, I don't want to make it sound like obstacles. I just want to make sure I'm not
Absolutely.
screwing you up
I
by doing
completely
anything.
aware that you're unable to vote or recommend
Yeah.
or,
So-
anything like that.
So we'll have an email meeting, group email, where we figure out, we look at John's letter and figure out how we can.
Move it away. I mean, this in itself is a nice,
For somebody
Absolutely.
who's not here.
Yep.
We have a member who's not
And then I
here.
have like
Two
some
members.
physical examples that I'll include pictures and media of
Uh-huh.
email, so that way you guys can see some of the examples of what part of the plan.
So I asked him for an email of this for you.
Yeah, we have a couple.
We have a couple members.
Yeah.
missing. So if you could send that to Cheryl, that would be
Okay.
great. She'll distribute it.
And I also, apart from this application, I do want to note to you all that Mr. Cordo has been very pro-business and reached out to me, because he's also attended the ARPA meetings as a member of the public, and suggested a way for me to reach out to the summer businesses who aren't here right now to know about these grants. And so I did follow up with Soundview Commission and asked them to get this news out to the summer businesses that wouldn't know about it. So I want to thank you for being very pro-business and looking out for the seasonal business owners.
Potentially negative connotations that exist in town, that the summer people are left out, not just businesses, but of everything. And, studios and the farm stand and this place and that place won't open until after the application is closed. So, I don't want you guys to get hounded and knock on the door, we didn't get our,
Yeah, we do want to help them, so that's great.
And the schools, you might add the schools to your list
So
of people.
I talked to the schools, and basically they have, a large corporate, national or international food service company that's kind of impossible to work with them directly about any of this. But that was considered for a while about food service in the schools.
I was present at a meeting when it was brought up about using better materials, and it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. I've dealt with some, large companies that are national or international and some 3,000 permanent resident towns line, which is not something that they, unless you know the CEO, you're not going to do 50 total, so.
Go ahead, Sherry. So I don't want to take a lot of time on this, but are you familiar with LEARN? LEARN is a regional educational resource center, and they actually have a co-op service for their 24 school districts. They're right here in town. You may want to look up LEARN online and maybe reach out to them and see if, they have when I was chairing that board, I remember it's probably still there, but they had a consortium that was like a co-op purchasing thing.
Yeah, and that's something that some full-time businesses have kind of been doing on their own, finding XYZ and then purchasing together, swapping, there was money on the side because of the power of
So Lenny, if you don't hear from me by Wednesday, send me an email, yeah.
The proposal in writing as well as other video.
Yeah. We'll look at the other members too, yeah. Okay, good.
I should make sure, confirm your email and address, even if we may not mail stuff, at least we'll be on the letter. I'll talk to you.
Okay. Is there other public comment? Yes.
I'm Carolyn Miranda from 15 Boulevard. And I want to say thank you for adopting that gateway to Soundview. You may or may not recall, probably 5 or 6 months ago, I came to some all here by myself. And I suggested that we needed to develop a vision for that our area of the town, just like we did for the historic district and so on. So I really thank you for embracing my idea and bringing it to fruition. However, I also mentioned at the time, and I don't know I think it's very important for you to think about this again. No matter what the vision committee may come up with over time, it is going to be over time, and I'm sure it's not going to be within a couple months or maybe even a year, maybe longer, I don't know. However, I just mentioned at previous meetings that I thought somebody in town needed to develop or create a moratorium for any further building down along the gateway you're talking about until this vision occurs. Because as it is right now, more storage units are going in. And there's another property on that's been sold recently. It's a big piece of property. And a year ago, they wanted to put more storage units. So my thoughts are, all this work this committee may do, and I give people a lot of credit for sitting on this committee, it may be for naught if, in the meantime, zoning is approving all kinds of nonsense that, I'm sorry, that's my opinion, but all these things that have been created in the past and approved by zoning and they've got building permits for, you all know if you drive that way, there are so many derelict, unused buildings, and they're all boarded up, and they look like terrible. So, I'm so thrilled about the vision committee that I'm really concerned by the time their work is done. Maybe we're going to have a whole bunch of more stuff on the north side of the street that just looks terrible. It's not going to be attractive. No, why would you want to come to Owline down to Soundview when we've got all these unattractive things on the left-hand side of the street? And along with that, I've been thinking a lot, and I thought about being on that committee, but for a lot of reasons I've chosen not to. I'm sure that committee is hopefully going to establish with townspeople and these residents, what exactly it is, the vision. Okay, so come to Owline, and I want to go to the beach area, and it needs to be very attractive. Well, as it is right now, my understanding is there are no light ordinances, or if there are, they're not enforced. Just on Hartford area, which that's the beach road. If you want to get to Soundview Beach, you have to go down Hartford area. Well, you can go to Portland and the others that are not blocked. But the point is, as you travel down Hartford Avenue, there's probably 5 very derelict, boarded up buildings and or vacant lots with grasses so tall you just can't believe. And I'm thinking, we want to have a nice place. We want to attract people there. But this summer, when they go down there, they're going to see all the boarded up buildings on Shore Road. And they're going to see boarded up buildings and vacant lots with lots of grass and dead trees on them. So I think we put the cart before the horse, or something's not quite right, or we don't have it quite calibrated correctly, that we can really accomplish what we would like to envision be accomplished as it stands now. So I'm wondering to you, who takes the ball and runs with that? Maybe developing a moratorium. Is it you? Is it zoning board? Is it in concert with zoning board and you and some other boards? But that has to be seriously looked at.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Halls Road, the Halls Road Committee wanted a moratorium on Halls Road development and brought that to zoning. And zoning seriously considered it, and I'm sorry I can't recall the reason, but there was some legal reason why they could not put a moratorium on development on Halls Road until that master plan was completed. I do know that people are approaching zoning, asking the question, can't we get a moratorium for Shore Road until that plan or vision is in place. But I would bring your concerns on a moratorium to zoning, because it's really zoning, it's not EDC at all. Okay, okay.
When I talk to you. That's all I'm saying.
And I could add that I know that a blight commission has been bantered back and forth for years here. It has resurfaced within the past several months. That would be the Board of Selectmen. So we just had a wonderful exercise in town where all these boards and commissions are trying to operate in silos, and we're integrating all of our efforts. So we started to take steps, but I would suggest that you, we'll do what we can, but you need to approach all those other commissions as well. Because you're obviously very persuasive. You are. You are.
Oh, yeah, that was a good idea.
All right, thank you. Is there any other business before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
I'll give you a motion to adjourn.
Okay. So we have Sherry made the motion and Joe came in seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.